man. Sure, whenever we think you're Tila, thanks for joining. Thanks for hanging out. I am starting a YouTube show right now, or YouTube Live. So I'm getting the link and putting it on my Instagram. So if you want to watch this, if that's better for you to watch it, you're more than welcome to do that as well. Just pulling that in here in just a second. Hope you guys are doing good. Happy New Year to everybody checking this out, listening. I had a good New Year's. I was took our kid over to our friend's house, and he played with his friends for a few hours, and then we were at home by 10:30, 11, and asleep. So it was good. We are recording this room here in Clubhouse, and so I'm going to get this started in just a couple of minutes here. Sorry to have you guys wait. I want to make sure I get this on the on YouTube and just going live in case you'd rather watch than listen. So I'm just going live here once again. I'll bring a couple people up on the stage here in a little bit, and we can talk about any questions that you have about the Rodecaster Pro. I know I got a lot of questions the other day about this device that I'm actually using right now on here to send my audio signal right to Clubhouse. So let me just double check this link real quick, and I'm going to get started. Awesome. Here we go. And I'm just going to send this to myself. Really sorry, guys. I'm getting a little late start just because I last minute decided to set up some cameras and record this live onto YouTube as well. That way, if you guys want to jump on there and watch it rather than listen, that way, if you want some more visual opportunities, I'm going to throw it on here real quick on my YouTube channel, and we can get going from there. Just a second here. All right, just a second. Cool. So if anybody wants to watch it live, it is now live on YouTube. That link is, so I've put it up there. And yeah, we'll go ahead and get started on this. I'm gonna go ahead and go. Let's see. If you're watching live, I really appreciate that here on YouTube. I'm gonna go ahead and switch over and get this party started. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of How to Live Stream and Podcast. I'm your host, Billy Thorpe. This episode, as always, is brought to you by Copilot Studio here in Wilmington, North Carolina. So really appreciate you jumping on if you're watching here on YouTube or if you're hanging out on Clubhouse, which is a popular app I've been telling everyone about in this on this couple of podcast series or a couple of podcast episodes I've been doing. So really appreciate you guys joining me. I'm going to be talking about the Rodecaster Pro today. I've had a lot of questions from some of my customers and clients in the podcasting coaching space wanting to know about the Rodecaster Pro, want to know how it works. Oh, excuse me, I had to take a drink of water. Or drink of coffee, rather, brought to you by Maven Coffee here in Wilmington, North Carolina. Appreciate those guys. Always supporting the show and supporting Copilot Studio. So let's go ahead and get started talking about the Rodecaster Pro. First of all, I'm really enjoying the Rodecaster because it's simplified. Like I've been in the music space, doing different things since, probably like 2005, from owning a little home recording studio and using mixing consoles to being a production person at my church for nearly a decade and running TV programs and TV shows and live streaming when live streaming wasn't even a thing, when you had to like reach out to some really smart people to figure out the technology behind it. I often tell people, like, as far as live streaming, we have it good these days because we have all this equipment. It makes life easier. And so the Rodecaster Pro is really nice because it simplifies the learning curve on the audio side. Because, some people are used to whatever, like mixing consoles, and then it has all the highs, mids, lows, all that kind of thing. And Rodecaster and Rode has really done a fantastic job of simplifying most of this. So if you're over on my YouTube page, really appreciate you checking that out. If you're on Clubhouse, really appreciate you listening. And I'm going to do my best for the people on Clubhouse to kind of go through some of the settings of the Rodecaster and just kind of a tutorial overview, and also explain how I'm using it here. And then we'll open it up for a question and answer. So first of all, I just really enjoy the Rodecaster, like I said, because it's so simplified. So on the back of the Rodecaster, and if you're watching on YouTube, I have a camera that I'm going to select on here for the Rodecaster Pro, just for the back. And on the back, it's really nice because you have 4 XLR inputs. So those are for microphones. And it's just a standard microphone jack. And I like this because it makes it real simple for podcasters. Now, if you're a musician or a singer and you want to get creative on your live stream or your podcast and you want to play your own music kind of live or whatever, then this doesn't really work out because it doesn't have the hybrid jack with the 1/4 inch on there, which I had a board like that, the Zoom Live Track L8 for a long time. And I loved it because I could plug my guitar in, play my guitar, do whatever. If I had a guest on the show that wanted to play a song or whatever, we could do that, and it was really fun. Rodecaster Pro, not so much. So it's got 4 XLR inputs. Then it has a phone inline, a phone jack input, which is a 3.5 millimeter. And you have to have a TRRS to a TRRS. And if you're using an iPhone, you got to have the little white adapter, or I think they call it a dongle. So anyway, you got to have that to make sure you can get into your phone. And the beauty about this Rodecaster is it's mix minus. So mix minus means you're not going to get that loop back audio. And so if I plug it in my phone, I get a phone call right now. I can talk to that person. They can talk to me. I can hear their audio. They can hear mine. It's not going to loop back and give them the echo that you would typically hear if you're just trying to run it through a regular soundboard. So that's pretty nice. And then also it has the USB. So just to continue on the back, if you're looking at the back of your Rodecaster, you can kind of check this out. Or if you're looking here on YouTube on the screen, you can see the 4 XLR inputs. You can see the phone, and that's where you plug your phone cable in, just that little phone icon. And then there's 4 headphone inputs or outputs, which is, I love this because if we have guests in the show, obviously you want everyone to have their own output. And so some boards don't have this if they're not made for podcasting. If they don't have this, in mind, you can run stereo. You can run outs as far as stereo outs or whatever, and try to create these different ways to let everybody monitor their own signal. But with this, it comes with 4 headphone outputs, and then also I'll show you on the top here in a minute. It's got 4 individual controls to control that, so everyone can have their own mix as far as the loudness of the mix. And then beside that, you'll see the left and right outputs. So this is if you are in your studio, maybe you're editing or whatever, and you have this plugged into your computer as an interface. You can have studio speakers. And there's a setting inside the Rodecaster, which I'll show you, that if you're using it, you can turn it on to where those will automatically mute when you hit the record button on top of your Rodecaster Pro. So that's what that L are, and that's an output there for your speakers. Right beside that, you're going to see the micro SD. That's where you put your micro SD card, obviously. Right beside that, you're going to see a USB plug, which mine has a plug in it because I'm recording onto my computer on Ecamm Live. Going straight to YouTube as we speak. So that is plugged in there, and you'll see that's a USB-C to regular USB. And then you have your power adapter, which comes with your Rodecaster Pro. I love this because it screws on, so it's really secure. It's not just going to pop off. And then your power button, which I'm not going to push it because I'll be turned off. And so a couple things I love about the XLR inputs is they got a little locking mechanism that just says push. So if you plug an XLR cable into it and you can't get it out of it, just obviously push it and it'll unlock it. So that's kind of the back. Pretty simple, just the back plug-in areas there and what they do. Let's take a look at the top of the Rodecaster. And this is where it gets really fun and really interesting. Because unlike a analog board or some type of mixing console that you might be used to, this is more of a digital interface. And I'm just going to go through really quickly. If you're looking at your Rodecaster, you'll see you got 4 different channels. And if you've had the update, it's going to be pink for channel 1, green for channel 2, blue for channel 3, and orange or yellow for channel 4. And there's a reason why they did that, because they sell an accessory pack that you can actually clip on different colors on your XLR cables in your studio. That way you can keep up with what channel. So if you have 3 or 4 people around the table, before COVID, or maybe hopefully after COVID, we'll get back to that intimacy as far as in the studio as well. And you can quickly see like what channels, whoever's on. So then you have different sliders. So these are just the sliders that you have hooked in, it's pretty simple. I mean, you turn it on, make sure this mute button's not pushed, slide it up, and you'll start getting signal, as you can see on the screen. And if you have a Rodecaster Pro, there's a screen on there that you can obviously see when you got signal coming through. So there's a little, there's a little ear on this Rodecaster Pro beside of the mute button. So obviously the mute button is a mute button, as you could not hear me just now. And then you have this little ear. And so this little ear is like a talkback control or talkback option. So if I had a couple people in the studio, I could push the talkback on each one of our channels, and it would basically let us talk to each other without somebody else hearing, which is pretty cool. And you can also mute those channels and then push that if you have a setting, which I'll show you, which is like a post slider setting, so no one can hear you. So that's a pretty fun option there. And then you have beside channel 4, you get your USB channel. This is plugged into my computer. So right now I have, let's see if I can play some music here. So this is coming all through my USB channel, just right from my computer there. So I got some music that I have downloaded and purchased a licensing from, what's the name of that company? Epidemic Sound. So that's all good and kosher for me to play that here on YouTube, as well as at Facebook and all those places. I don't really know about Clubhouse, but we'll see. And then the next channel here is going to be your phone channel. And this is where that TRRS comes into play. And you get a significantly better signal, in my opinion, from the TRRS to TRRS. And so that's where you want to control that signal. So if I bring somebody up on stage, let's see, if somebody wants to come up on stage and just know you're being recorded and you give me permission to use this in my content, feel free to raise your hand. I think it has somebody just raise their hand a minute ago. Here we go. So I'm going to invite a couple people up as speakers on Clubhouse. If you're not on Clubhouse, then you should go check it out. Find a friend that is, and they'll send you an invite. So if one of these people would like to talk to Aquila or More Than Therapy, if you'd like to say something, then they will bring your audio in.
Hey, Billy. I'm always happy to talk. So I'm really glad you're doing this. I know you helped me out a ton the other day when I first got my and I got my Rodecaster Pro. You only need one, right? And so I'm excited to hear this. I did have a question. Are you taking questions yet?
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, we can talk questions. I was just going over some of this overview stuff, but yeah, what's the question?
So hopefully it'll lend into the overview stuff. One thing I am not sure if you can do is if I'm recording a podcast episode, because my plan, and I'll repeat it for your audience because I know we talked about it the other day, but my plan is really to use it, one, for some Clubhouse stuff, but mainly to do my solo podcast episodes without having to do any editing in my computer. So I really just want to be able to, have my intro, have my intro on the deck. So I'll just play the intro, say some good words, then play a commercial, say some more good words, and then play my outro, and that be the file. And all I have to do now is pop it into Libsyn. So 2 things that have come up when I've been starting to play around and think through this. So one was, is there a way, if say I say the wrong thing, or in my good words, one of them's bad, right? And I catch it while I'm doing it. Is there a way to rewind a little bit? I'm thinking cassette like way back in the day. I'm old. But you know how you could like rewind just like 2 minutes and then just re-record over that? Can you do that here, or are you just stuck with whatever's on the recording and then you have to pop it into some software to edit it out?
Yeah, so I haven't worked on the rewind thing, but there's like a flag option here that you can push, and I think it will flag that file. So when you and I have, and once again, I'm assuming this is what it does because I haven't recorded a lot on the actual device because I'm using, I do audio and video at the same time. So I just bring it into my software, which will actually separate the audio files. And I've had pretty good success with that. So, but on here, I do see a flag. So I imagine like if I'm at 30, like I just hit record again to see at 39 seconds, I hit a flag, it lit up blue. So I think it will throw in like a mark there where you can quickly go in and cut it out. But I don't know. Let me look into the file here real quick. Let me pull up this camera. So if people are watching on YouTube, you can see. So I literally just hit the record button. I recorded for a few seconds. I hit this flag button. To flag some of the areas here, and let's see what that does when I go into. Here we go. Let's see if it'll let me do it. Okay, yeah. So if you catch yourself, it looks like what it'll do is let you go into the file. And once you go into podcasts, when you stop recording and you go into settings and you can go into podcasts, which I think it muted my microphone, I can go in there and it shows the little cuts. So I think maybe you can go to that and either restart at that place, or yeah, I think that's what it does. I'm not gonna let me try it real quick. It's gonna mute me for a second, I do believe, but let me try it here. Yeah, that's what it looks like it does to me, if that makes sense to you.
Yeah, that absolutely does. That's great. So thank you so much. And thank you for testing it like right on the spot. Then my second question, so when I did the test, I looked at the files and they're all WAV files.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know if there's a way to change it to MP4? Or do I always have to drop it onto the computer and do some formatting and stuff? To change the format? Like, is there a way? My husband was thinking, and neither one of us looked at it yet, but my husband was like, maybe there's a selector or something in the settings where you can say produce an MP4 as opposed to producing a WAV file.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to have to check on that one because I think what I've been, because really what you want is you want an MP3 file.
Or MP3, you're right.
Yeah, MP3. And so I will check on that to see, because there might be something in the setting. And once again, I'm doing this, and this was the part of my fun challenge of doing this on Facebook Live or YouTube Live, and then also on here was to see what can I do while I'm going live with the Rodecaster Pro and recording. And so I can't get into the settings of the software that's on my computer, but I imagine if you can change the file type it records as, it'll be through that interface.
Okay.
So if you don't see it in there, I don't know that would exist.
What I find out. So sorry, I hit you with all the curveballs, right?
No, you're good. Yeah, no,
I've been playing with this and figuring out, because my ideal world is I don't have to do anything besides take it off of the little drive thing, and put it into Libsyn. That's my ideal world. So I'm just trying to see how I can make that work, if it can work that way. But and for those who are listening, so even if I had to just do that one piece, it's still a huge time saver. So hopefully more people jump on this one.
Yeah, absolutely. And what Akila's talking about, and I'll go ahead and show you guys, or I'll try to explain it for the people listening here on Clubhouse, is there's all kinds of these sound effect pads. So to get back to like the top of the Rodecaster, you'll see this big green button in my case that is flashing. If I hit that, it's going to record right onto the SD card. So pretty simple. And then there's the 4 audio headphone monitors that I was telling you about. You can change the volume for each of your people on your headphones. And then the overall like speaker monitors, if you had speakers, you could turn those up and down as well. And then right under that, you have all these banks of sound effects. And the slider right to the left of those squares, those really colorful squares, is the slider to control the volume of those sound effects. And this is the only thing that is kind of interesting about the Rodecaster, which I don't know moving forward if they would change this, but there's no names or anything. So maybe you could color code it, and if you remember the colors. But in my situation, I like to you can set up different banks. And what I mean by banks is there's 8 buttons. So I can have 8 buttons in bank 1. So I have like an intro, applause, like laughter, scary, sound effects, harp, whatever came on it, like a rim shot, when I tell my funny jokes. And then bank 2, I have 8 more sounds. And then bank 3, I have, I can have 8 more sounds, and so on and so forth. The only thing that I don't really care for is you kind of have to, in my opinion, what I do, I think they came with cards that you could actually write on it what it is, and you can just lay it over your device.
It does. It comes with like 3 or only because I got mine last week, so I still have them in the box. It comes with like 3 or 4 cards, and I feel like there was like a sticker thing. So it comes with a couple of options for you to make so you can stick it on there so people will know and not forget what they did with the cards. I think it's also one. I know this definitely had the overlay cards. There was a sticker thing, and I feel like there was another one with the colors, so you can just kind of put it on the side
makes sense.
See that red was this, blue was that kind of thing.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, and so I guess to be such a digital product, I was kind of shocked that they didn't have some kind of like screens or something that just displayed those names when you change the bank, or even a button to quickly change those banks, because you might have one sound effect that you like on a different bank, but you got to go into the software and on the actual board. Sorry, there's so many so many pieces of this, but on the actual board, the little screen, you got to go in and move through those. So, but yeah, like Akila is saying, it's amazing what you can do, because if I was going to start a show, I could, easily just play some intro music or whatever, and then kind of fade that out when I'm done, so I can even come in or if I introduce the show and, like on a regular podcast, I might just introduce the show. Hey, this is Billy Thorpe with, how to podcast and live stream, or how to live stream and podcast. Today we're going to be talking about the Rodecaster Pro. All right, here we go. And then just turn on the music, and then I can fade it right back out. And that's all like live right here as I'm talking to you guys. So if you get your rhythm down, you get your workflow down, like Akila is saying, like you could probably just crush out, podcast just in the amount of time it takes you to do it, which is similar to what we're doing here on Clubhouse, similar to what I'm doing on YouTube as I'm live streaming. So it's a live deal, and it's there. And so that is some of the interface part or just the hardware part of it, kind of what those buttons do. And if you get into the interface, there's so much going on. As far as the settings, a couple of settings I will tell you about that I recommend people changing. And you go into the little wheel. If you're looking at your Rodecaster Pro, go into that little, I can't remember what they call those things, but it's the little icon for setting. And then you go to advanced, and then jump into audio, and jump into audio processing. And one thing you want to do here, and if you haven't updated already, let's see here. Let me back out and see where you see if you've updated. Let's see. So if you go into audio or go into advanced, so settings, advanced, and then information, this firmware version needs to say 2.1.0. If it doesn't, the first thing you need to do is update your Rodecaster Pro. Because it has this one setting in here which will change your life when you're trying to interview people from a distance over Ecamm Live, Skype, what have you. So once you do that, you go back out into settings, advanced, and then go to audio, and then go into processing menu. Excuse me. And then you want to use USB mix minus. You want to make sure that is the toggle switch there is turned to on. And what that's going to do is when, like right now, I have my computer hooked into, or my Rodecaster hooked into my computer. I have my phone hooked into it. So people from Clubhouse are talking to me. It's going through my Rodecaster into my computer, from my computer, and it's not, and back into my Rodecaster, and it's not producing any kind of loop or any kind of feedback. So if you have a guest on the show and you hear them looping back or yourself looping back, That is the problem that you're going to have. If you have all these people and you're still hearing that, more than likely your guest is not wearing headphones and they have their computer speakers turned up really loud, and that will also cause a loop back on their section up. Excuse me. But and then under mix minus or USB mix minus, you have what's called ducking. This is an interesting feature. If I had 4 people in the studio and we're all talking, I would, as the host, now this is for only channel 1, as the host of the show, which is, I guess, typically where you put them, ducking will allow, like, if all 4 of those people are talking and the host is like, whoa, hold on a second, like, let me get control of the room, it will bring all of those 2, 3, and 4 channels down. Like, those levels will come down a little bit just to give you some, whatever, like power, I guess, or some like additional volume just to like get control of the podcast or the episode or the conversation. Then you have effects edit mode, which I turn that on, and I'm going to show you that or explain that to you as well. So we back out of processing. That'd be the first thing I do. Now you can go into multi-track, and this is interesting as well because in multi-track you can turn on just exactly what it says, multi-tracking. So if you want all 4 of these channels to record separately, or really, I think I can't remember how many technical channels. There's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, maybe 10 or 11 channels technically on this board, and that'll multi-track so you can raise the level. So if you have somebody in your studio and they talk really soft and you're talking loud, you can separate all those tracks to record them separately, and you can go back in and post and edit all of those. So you can set that up for USB. You can also bypass any audio processing. So anything that you record won't have any audio processing if you want to do that in post as well. So those are just a few settings that you can turn on and off. And I won't get into like all the nerdiness of it. This is really just a basic overview of the Rodecaster Pro and to answer some questions here on Clubhouse. If somebody's interested in, spending the $600, like, is it necessary? I don't know. Maybe so. I just wanted to share and let you guys, get kind of my rundown of it and how I use it. So the next thing I'll go into is operations. A couple things that I have is I turn on broadcast meters. That shows me the decibel level, just like a traditional broadcasting board would. So I can really see on that main screen what my broadcast levels are. And that way you can kind of see if everybody's even, what each channel looks like when people are talking. And then also I have it enable pre-fade listen, and that will enable me to hit that little ear button and be able to listen to that channel, without the faders all the way down or all the way up. It doesn't matter. It'll still let me hear that channel. So if you're, if you have some issues, some mic issues, whatnot, you can figure it out. You can figure out what's making noise or whatever if you have 3 or 4 microphones. Let's see here. Operations, multi-track, I think we talked about. Let me back out. And then there's some basic stuff, Bluetooth, headphones. And headphones is kind of neat. You can put a limit maximum volume on there, or you can boost the headphone volume, brightness. Some of the stuff is pretty self-explanatory. When you go into sounds, that is your different sound effects. Like I talked about, the big buttons on the right-hand side. You can put, do whatever, set those up. And you can actually set them up on your computer. So there's like a Rodecaster Pro software, and you can go in there and set those up in different banks. So right now I have, whatever presets that they have. Sorry, I got a phone call, but whatever presets that they've put in there, I have those. And then also I have a different intro and a couple funny sound effects that I use for one of our clients' podcasts when they record. So that's a lot of fun. I mean, it can get annoying if, whatever, but I love it. I love those sound effects. Adds a lot to, some of the comedy stuff that I'm working on as well. Not for myself, but for the other people. And let's see what else we got here. Different channels. So you can go actually into different channels like channel 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you click on microphone, and there's a couple ways to get to this menu. One, you can get through it on this screen like I just did. So that's for people listening. If you hit the settings button and hit channels, then you got channel 1, 2, 3, 4, USB, smartphone, Bluetooth, and then the meter or the master compressor. You have all those. or you can just hit the button of the channel. So like button 1 is the pink button, and it's going to bring 3 options. You got microphone, level, and an audio processing. So if you go into microphone, and this is I have a Rode Pod mic, and you guys can on Clubhouse here can see it on my little avatar there, whatever. My picture, that's a Rode Pod mic. Rode, for all their mics, they have a Rode Pod mic, a Rode Procaster, a Rode Broadcaster, Rode NT1, Rode NT1A, and EVR20. And you can, if you have one of those mics, you can select it, and it's going to give you the optimum settings for that microphone based on their technology. If you just have a condenser mic, you can just hit condenser. If you have a dynamic mic, you can hit dynamic. So that is pretty basic things there. The next thing is level. So it's pretty cool. They have a little green on this level bar. You can see the decibels, and then also it has like a little green highlighted section where they're saying, hey, this is where you're gonna get the best sound quality, which is pretty good. And then also underneath that, you're gonna have your gain, so you can turn that level up and down digitally there. And then also you have phantom power, which, if you're watching this YouTube channel or video right now, you're going to see my phantom power is turned on. I'm going to tell you why in just a minute. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the device I have hooked into my dynamic microphone that requires phantom power and why I have that. And so basically that is the basics of, let me see. Actually, if you go, one more thing, if you go into audio processing in that microphone channel, so like channel 1, audio processing, this is going to have all kinds of different stuff. A high-pass filter, noise gate, a de-esser. So if you say S's a lot, you can turn that on. A compressor, which, not to get too nerdy, too technical, but a compressor is going to even out the sound. If I'm backing off the mic or going closer to the microphone, it's going to kind of even that out, compress that audio, exactly what it sounds like, right? Noise gate works well if I'm not talking, and you guys can hear mine turn on right now. It's going to turn on a noise gate. Essentially, think of a gate that blocks out noise, exactly what it says. And it's good for air conditioners or really loud background spaces. And, my studio is in a co-working space. So not today because it's New Year's Day. Happy New Year's if I haven't said it. But typically there might be some background noise, and so I have it on. Now, I don't really care for it. The audio person on the inside of me says, hey, even though this Rodecaster Pro is amazing, it's still a machine and it can't anticipate exactly what's going to happen with my audio. So I don't really like to have this on if I can do without it. But like I said, in my space right now, I have it because it will block out some of those, big air conditioned noises or whatever. When I'm not talking, you're not going to be able to hear some of that stuff going on because it's going to turn that noise gate on. And then you have a high pass filter. Now, the one thing I want to talk about is the APHEX, so APHEX settings. And this is probably, let's see, what Rodecaster is known for. They have an aural exciter on there. You can turn this on and off and see, what the difference in your voice, if you like it or not. And then also they have a big bottom. So right now I have the big bottom turned off. So this is without big bottom, and this is with big bottom. So you can hear a little bit more like boomier. So if you're like me and you have obviously a weak voice, because I'm over here like can't talk for 5 minutes without going hoarse for whatever reason today, then you can mess with those settings. And so what I recommend on this audio processing feature is if you're looking at it on the screen, you can see this little arrow. It's like this little back arrow on all these effects. So you can click into them. So if you're in audio processing, you can click into noise gate, de-esser, compressor, or that APHEX, and you can mess with the levels. And the only way I can do that, though, is if I have that one setting turned on that I was mentioning, which is the, it's the processing, the effects edit mode under processing. So if you go into the settings, go into advanced, audio, processing, effects edit mode, you got to have that turned on to be able to mess with these effects. But what it does is allows you in the audio processing of each individual mic to go in there and adjust the levels and really just kind of tweak your voice the way you want it to sound. I haven't messed with it. I've left it alone. Maybe I can make my voice sound a little better. But that's basically really the basics of the Rodecaster Pro. I'm not going to get into like all, how all that stuff works, but is it worth $600? I don't know. I mean, I love it, and I traded it in. I had the Zoom LiveTrack L8 for the longest time, and then my wife, my beautiful, awesome wife, surprised me with a new MacBook Pro with the M1 chip and Big Sur, and the Zoom LiveTrack LiveTrack L8 was not compatible, and so therefore I had to figure out something. And Rodecaster is, I think it's called USB compliant, which means it'll just work. Like, you don't have to have any drivers. And Zoom, you had to have drivers, and so therefore I opted out of that. So with that being said, guys, I'm going to open up Clubhouse for question and answers. If you want to jump on the stage, ask any questions, chime in if I missed something. If you have a question, once again, I'm not, excuse me, I'm not a Rodecaster or a Rode expert, or I don't work for Rode. I paid $600 at a big box store for this thing, just like everybody else, and figured it out. Watched a ton of YouTube videos. Just trying to make sure that I knew all the settings and what they did and how they operated. And I wanted to pass along, information that I've learned and also ways that I've used this board. And one of the ways is, even on Clubhouse, being able to record conversations. So once again, before I open this completely up for conversation and for questions, one, it can be questions about anything, podcasting, live streaming. And then also, if you're watching on the YouTube channel, make sure you put a Q beside of your question so I know it's a question. But yeah, if anybody else doesn't have anything, we'll bring people up. Just raise your hand if you want to come up, and we'll start the question and answers. And once again, if you're on the stage, if you're coming on stage, this is one of Clubhouse's rules. I got to let you know you're being recorded, and it's going to go. And by you saying yes, then you're releasing me of all obligations, and you're releasing your content. So that's the agreement. Really appreciate you. So yeah, let's go ahead. More Than Therapy. What's going on, Felipe?
Hey man, how you doing, Billy? Nice to see you again. Hear you again. I wasn't able to see the YouTube video. I follow you on Facebook, so I'm gonna have to look for the link in there, and maybe I can look at it after it's post recorded. I'm gonna do like what Aquila did. The whole reason for me having it is like Aquila's doing. Just want one stop shop for everything in one machine that's easy to carry and has all the deluxe options I wanted to do. Even though I always have my laptop with me, just want to have to depend on it a little bit less. Currently using Audition for recording. And as much as I love Adobe, just trying to get away from her a little bit,
I understand that. Yep, I understand that. Yeah, man. And don't you have two of these, if I remember?
Yeah, I bought one, put it at the studio. My girlfriend bought the other one, didn't know I had the one. So it was just like, oops. But, it works. One is always going to be in place, and the other one's just more portable.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Well, dude, I like mine, man. I can't complain. Chris, welcome to the stage. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Thank you so much. Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year. Did you have a question, or you want to chime in about the Rodecaster? Or?
Yeah, so I do have a question, and I do love my Rodecaster so far. So my question specifically is dealing with my goal, kind of using it on Clubhouse. I moderate and co-moderate quite a few rooms. And I know just based on how we've been kind of structuring it, I wanted to kind of add the Rodecaster Pro as a amplifier to the way that we're using as far as bringing people up to the stage, in additional to like how we're just moderating the flow of the conversations and, adding an ad lib, sound effects, all that stuff here and there. My question is, what TRRS cable, do you recommend? Because at first, the one I had actually broke. I had it because I just had an extra one. And I was trying to figure out what would be a good brand to get. I tried to use my phone through Bluetooth. I didn't like how that sound between, my headphones and my pod mic. So I wanted to know, what cable would you recommend? Because I want to make sure, like, I love your audio and sound right now. Like, it's amazing and it's crystal clear. And I kind of want to remedy that, but more so, like I said, from a moderator perspective. Like, I know I have my settings correct, like when I'm doing my podcasting, because I do a lot of I do audio, but I'm getting ready to start doing video and just take the audio. But for Clubhouse specifically, what cable do you recommend to connect to the phone to connect to the podcast or the Procaster?
I would probably and I don't have this cable, but I'd probably by default go buy something that Rode actually makes, because they make these cables as well. So I don't know if like B&H Photo or whatever has them. I'm actually using one that came with my Zoom LiveTrack L8. I forgot to, when I sold it used though, so I don't feel too bad, but I actually forgot to put that piece of equipment in the box, which I'm sure that guy's going to reach out to me and be like, hey dude, like where's this cable at? But I still have it, and it's pretty long, and I like the longer one. I have another one by Rode that I use with my camera, but it's really short. And so I didn't, I went with this one over, continuing to use this one over the Rode, but I know Rode does make those. And so far I haven't found a product that they make that's bad. So I'd probably go there first and check those guys out. And just so you know, guys, if you're looking to buy the Rodecaster Pro, be sure to go through an authorized dealer. I know I think this even sounds crazy saying it, but the last time I checked, anybody on Amazon is not authorized to sell these. So you got to go to Rode and look and see who their authorized dealers are for warranty purposes. And this is what I've heard and what I've actually read on their website is you got to make sure you're going to the right place to buy it if that warranty is going to stick. I think I've actually heard that on Clubhouse a few times as well. So yeah, Chris is flashing her microphone, and on Clubhouse that means clapping. So I think I've probably said that correctly. And if anybody is in this Clubhouse room right now, just to kind of reset the room, I am Billy Thorpe. I've been doing podcasting for 2 to 3 years now. And before that, I still own a t-shirt printing company. We do apparel and stickers and all that kind of stuff. But before that, I worked at a ministry for about a decade doing all their media stuff, TV show, website, graphic design, all the creative elements. And so really passionate about helping people create content and create media. So please follow me. Love helping out. That's why I'm doing this Rodecaster Pro tutorial. And then, anything I can answer as far as live streaming and podcasting. Once again, don't know it all, don't know everything, but I've surrounded myself with some really smart people that I can reach out to or get you connected with as well if it's a better fit to help you out. Just want to help. Much like Aquila here in the audience is really passionate about helping people out and getting people's message. So my goal is to help you find your message, build confidence, plan, launch, grow, and even monetize if that's what you want to do, your podcast or your live stream shows. So if you're in the audience, you want to jump up, say hello, introduce yourself, tell us about your podcast, ask any questions about the Rodecaster Pro or any other questions, feel free to do so. And also on YouTube Live as well, if you want to do that. Be more than welcome or more than happy to answer any questions. Just leave it in the comments there. So I'm going to bring up Melissa.
And I just have another question, Billy, too, before I leave the stage.
Oh yeah, go ahead, Chris. Let's go ahead and hear it.
So where is actually the live stream? Because I actually subscribe to your channel because I would love to go back and rewatch this, since I know the live shows you actually probably working through, basically, since it'll show your face. I appreciate the audio, but where would the live stream be helped? Because I follow I follow the company YouTube and your personal, so I'm just trying to figure out where the live stream is.
Okay, it's going to be on the Copilot Studio, which I linked it in my Instagram bio. So if you guys are wanting to watch the video, go back and watch this, and there's going to be you'll see me like working with the Rodecaster here. So that link is actually in the bio, and if you click on it right now, it'll be a live show that you see just for a few more minutes. I might shut down the YouTube part of it here in a minute, but yeah, just wanted to put that in the link, so it should, or in the bio, so it should work.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that, and thanks for welcoming me to the stage. I appreciate you answering my questions.
Absolutely, Chris. Well, thank you so much for coming on and hanging out with us. Hey, Melissa, welcome to the stage. Please introduce yourself and ask any questions or be a part of the conversation.
Hello, everyone. I am Melissa. I live abroad, and I do have a podcast, and I'm just super excited to know Billy. So thank you so much for inviting me to the stage. Literally, the fact that I'm watching you on YouTube right now and able to join in and ask a question on Clubhouse, and the fact that you've seamlessly connected these two together is why I am here.
Awesome.
I just literally want to duplicate what you've just done. Like, it is amazing. I just saw you like drinking some soda or refreshing yourself while I'm literally on your YouTube channel, while I'm on Clubhouse. Thank you so much for that. I am looking for connections. I'm looking for the ability to seamlessly connect my Rodecaster so that it sounds as clear as you sound right now. I'm looking for the ability to watch myself while I'm on YouTube. So it's just incredible. So I'm ready for the consultation.
Okay.
I definitely will be on your calendar, Lee. And the fact that you're doing this for free just lets me know that you are such a man of integrity. So I'm so grateful for that. So God bless you. And I will let someone else come up to the stage. But yeah, I just needed to let you know that I literally want to know how you are doing exactly what you're doing. When I tried to plug up my Rodecaster to my phone so that I can have conversations on Clubhouse, I did it through the Bluetooth, and it wasn't clear for everyone else on the other side listening to me. So the fact that you're coming in clear, I do want to know, how are you hooking up the Rodecaster to your phone so that we can make this clear connection?
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. And that is going to be that TRRS cable. And let me do this real quick. Let me bring it up on the screen since you're actually watching. And once again, thanks for checking out the YouTube channel. That's so cool. I was hoping that that would be kind of a part of it, because typically what I do when I do live streams is I just plug my phone in, then I can put my phone number on the screen. If people have a question, they can call in. But seeing the fact that you're listening or watching on YouTube and calling in, that was a part of the goal. So thank you for doing that. That's cool to know that somebody is taking advantage of that.
Well, I love all of the connections. And so I have three items that I can connect. So I can watch you on laptop. I have 2 phones. I have another laptop. So I'm trying to get all this information that you are giving. So thank you so much for letting me know that it is a cord that I will need to plug up and bypass the Bluetooth option to be crystal clear.
Yep, that's what it is. And on your iPhone, you're going to have that little, if you got a newer iPhone, you're going to have that little white dongle or whatever they call it to make that adaptation to your, to like where your charge port goes. I'm trying to find the picture, if I can find it here. Let's see. You know what? I'm going to do this real quick. I'm going to bring in my computer screen since you're watching me on, let's see, hold on. Here you go. Since you're watching me, so this is a cable right here, this TRRS to TRRS. I'm not even sure what website. Oh, this is sweetwater.com. So this is a $30 cable. I think you can get them for like way cheaper than that. Like you can probably check out on Amazon or whatever. But for $30, you might not have the same problem that Chris was talking about having, where she had one and it broke. So if you're watching, and to explain it, this is the 3.5 millimeters. So a traditional headphone jack that would plug into your computer or older iPhones. That's what this is, but instead of having 2 black rings, it has 3 black rings. So that's going to be left-right audio, and your microphone. So that's why it has that, and you need this on both sides. That way you can talk both ways and communicate both ways. So, Melissa, if you're watching, that is the cable that you're looking for right there. The three black lines on each side of that cable.
Okay, wonderful. Just took a screenshot of it. And thank you again. The fact that you have YouTube and Clubhouse at the same time is just all by yourself. No producer behind you. You are it, Billy. Thank you so much for your support.
Awesome. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. And it looks like Chris found us on YouTube as well. So really appreciate you guys. And this is a new YouTube channel. Once again, the Copilot Studio is a new studio here in Wilmington, North Carolina that, we've put together to really help people do just this. I mean, even yesterday, my neighbor owns a surf camp and he was like, hey man, I want to start a podcast and a live show, or not a live show, but a podcast, video and audio. And so, I was so thankful for that, to, be able to help him to create content and podcasting and live streaming and build those relationships. Cause it's a pretty neat thing to be able to call somebody that you want to do business with, or maybe you want their support or you want to support them, or vice versa. And then, invite them to your show, invite them to your podcast, invite them to your live stream. And nowadays, man, this is so easy. I mean, I'm not going to say super easy, but it's way easier than it was like 10, 15 years ago when we were like hacking in Skype. I worked for Ryan Lestrange, who's the person who nominated me for this app. and, just an influencer in his area of ministry. And so worked with him and his wife, Joy, for like 10 years. And I mean, I remember we were just building studios, and he just sent me a picture of a studio they're building in Atlanta. But we were like hacking all kinds of stuff to like get people Skype and record, audio and video to use for TV shows. And we were like really, just pushing ahead. And now you have programs like Ecamm Live for Mac, who just makes it really, really seamless and really easy. And then, obviously the Rodecaster Pro that we're talking about. So if anybody else is in the audience on Clubhouse, feel free to raise a hand and ask any questions. While you're doing that, I just want to thank everyone that's been watching here on YouTube. Thank you so much for checking out the channel. Be sure to subscribe if that is something that you're interested in, in literally live streaming and podcasting. Not only myself, but I'm going to bring some other people on who are experts in this area or have really used the tools of podcasting and live streaming to build their business, build their nonprofits, find their audience, get their message out there. So I'm going to shut down this part on the YouTube channel, but really appreciate that. I'm going to hang out on Clubhouse for a few more minutes if anybody else has any questions, and it will not be recording on Clubhouse after YouTube is shut down. I'll let you know in case you didn't want your voice recorded, then you can still come up and ask questions if you want to. But once again, guys, that is it from me, and I will show you exactly how I use the Rodecaster Pro when I end a show. I think, if I remember what this sounds like. But here we go. We'll see you later.